Good morning, everyone. I'm very excited to be able to speak with you today about the news I'm sure you've already heard that we're once again allowed to have Mass inside the church. I know this has been a long, difficult 3 months. I know many have experienced suffering and sickness and pain and loss. So please know we continue to pray for you and for everyone who's out on the front lines. But I think we're all encouraged and enthusiastic about the possibility of being back together in the church and praying. So I thought I'd take a moment to share with you our plans for opening the church up again. You'll find a letter on the website summarizing most of this information. So the first thing we know is that we are allowed in the church up to 25% of our occupancy. So we've calculated that out to be about 175, 185 people. So as of today, Wednesday, we'll once again have daily masses at 8:30 and 12:05. And we'll be beginning our Sunday Masses again. So this schedule we're adjusting. We're not sure what it's going to look like, whether we're going to have large crowds or people are going to be slower to come back. So the plan as of now is we'll have a regular schedule with a few additions. So firstly, the 5 o'clock Mass will be as normal. We will be prepared to have a backup and overflow Mass in the auditorium. The hope is that we'll have sufficient space, but if that's a problem, we'll have a priest on standby to say a second Mass. On Sunday morning, the 7 a.m., we're asking that only those who are in vulnerable categories, particularly those who are 65 and over, to come to that Mass so they feel more comfortable, and we'll therefore be adding an 8 o'clock Mass for anybody who might still want to go to an early Mass, a quiet Mass, but is in a lower age bracket. Following that, we have the 9 a.m. Mass as usual, and then the 10:30 and 12 o'clock Masses. We know some people might still be less than comfortable being indoors, so we're planning on having those two Masses for a larger crowd out on the school steps, the front lawn of the school. If it rains, we'll move indoors and prepare to have an overflow Mass in the auditorium, but the hope is we'll be able to be outdoors, we can spread out, and we'll be able to have a larger crowd at that Mass. And then finally, in the evening, we'll have the 5:30 Mass as usual and the 7 p.m. Spanish Mass. One other note, for the outdoor Mass, you're asked to please bring lawn chairs so you're able to seat yourself. I know a big question, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking about, is safety in the church. So we put a lot of preparation into sort of responding to the protocols that we've been given. So if the first thing you'll be asked is that you do wear a mask in the church. If you're not comfortable, if you have breathing issues, there are those who are unable to wear masks, but most parishioners are encouraged to wear them. And we've also marked out the church. So you'll notice we have every other pew closed off and blocked. And then within the pews we're asking people to sit, there are sort of 4 pieces of blue tape. So the idea is if there are 4 individuals in the pew, you can have 2 at the end and 2 in the middle where the pieces of tape are. If you have a family of, say, 3, we'd ask that somebody skip the middle piece of blue tape and go to the next one. When you come into the church, you'll see those pieces are spread out about 6 feet. So we're able to get a good number of people in the church while respecting that 6-foot directive in terms of social distancing. There are a few other guidelines. One, we're asking that as everybody comes into the church, you go directly to your seat. You don't stop to chat. We're worried about congregation of crowds. During the Mass, you'll notice the missalettes have been removed for fear that they transmit germs. So in any way, the CDC is recommending that there's a limitation on responses and singing, as that could be a source of increased spread of the germs. So that'll be a little different. Also, during the Mass, as was before this began, there'll be no sign of peace. We still regretfully won't be able to distribute Holy Communion. We're praying that that changes soon. And we won't be able to pass collection baskets. So you'll find by all the doors of the church boxes to be able to place your donations in. One final difference is that at the end of Mass, you'll be asked to be seated rather than proceed directly to the doors. Again, for fear of congregation, we're going to dismiss pews one at a time at the direction of ushers. In terms of hand sanitizer, we do have a supply, though with the number of people who will probably be coming, we are encouraging parishioners to bring their own or to provide for themselves because we'll quickly run out and it's going to be hard to keep on top of that. Also, we're going to keep the windows and doors open. It may get a little warm. It is summer, but the idea is the fresh air is healthier. And the bathrooms, it's going to be very hard to disinfect them to the level that's necessary. So we are encouraging parishioners, if it's avoidable, to please avoid using the bathrooms. A few other changes. We are looking to get a few volunteers to help clean the church between Masses. We've got a system worked out where we just spray and wipe down surfaces and common areas. So if you'd like to help, ideally we'd have about 4 people between every Mass. It would be another 5 or 10 minutes just to do a quick walkthrough. Our other sacraments and devotions that will be sort of resuming. First, funerals, weddings, and baptisms are now all allowed again, up to 25% of the church, so again, like 175 people. If you've lost a loved one in these past months and were unable to have a funeral, we're happy to help arrange with you a memorial Mass to still offer the sacrifice of the Mass in their memory. Confessions will continue to be offered outside in the parking lot between the school and the church from 2 to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. We ask that you drive in, or you can walk in on the Mayfair Road side, and then exit through the New Hyde Park Road exit. We've also, as many of you know, had increased adoration hours, which is beautiful to see lots more people present. We had them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from noon to 8. We're hoping to keep extended adoration hours. We know with people's regular routines resuming, we may lose some adorers. So if you'd like to help out with adoration, please contact the rectory. If we get enough adorers, we continue with these extended adoration hours. In terms of communication, I know it's been hard to reach out to everybody without a bulletin. We still can't distribute a bulletin, so the primary means of communication are our website, our Facebook or Instagram, and our and Flocknote. If you haven't been able to access any of those resources, I encourage you to please call the rectory. We have people here who can help you sign up. If you know of individuals in the parish who maybe don't have access to technology, I'd ask that you please maybe work out a communication chain. I'll be continuing to send out pastors' letters to update people on things, so even those are easy to distribute to other parishioners. And finally, just some upcoming events. So this Sunday, weather permitting, God willing, we'll have a procession for Corpus Christi. It's a beautiful opportunity to bring our Lord into the streets. So we've reached out to some volunteers, and they'll be setting up altars in different areas of the town, like we did with our other processions. Please check out our website and Facebook for more details. That will be happening after the noon Mass. We also know that because of the closure, the Mother's Day novena of Masses, many people weren't able to be here or offer their intentions. So we are inviting you, if you'd like to, for the Father's Day novena, offer intentions for mothers and fathers, men and women. This might be a nice opportunity to still do that if you weren't able to do so back in May. And finally, we're going to still be doing lots on our Facebook in terms of online programming. Last night we had our first session of our Bible study of Matthew. The remaining Tuesdays of June, we'll continue that every Tuesday night at 7:30 with the exceptional priest, Father Sean McGalding. So logistically, that's the summary of what's going on. I know it's been a difficult few months. I know it's been sad for me not to have everybody here. We've missed you. We've been doing our best to reach out and keep everybody connected, and hopefully God has been with us in this difficult time. And maybe before I end, just to offer a few thoughts on the spiritual benefits that God can work through these difficult protocols we've been put under. First, I know it's going to be a difficult experience coming to church again, not being able to receive communion. But hopefully this is an opportunity to remember what a blessing the Eucharist is. We often take it for granted, we receive out of habit, but hopefully now we start to really think about what it means to receive the Blessed Sacrament. Normally, outside of this time, it's obligatory to attend Mass. We know that. If you miss, it is a mortal sin without a good reason. But at the same time, it's not obligatory to receive. There are times where maybe we should avoid receiving if we are in a state of mortal sin, if we've eaten in the past hour, if we're not spiritually prepared. There's two separate bits to that. We're all meant to come to Mass, but there should be a little more work that goes into preparing to receive Holy Communion. So hopefully, as we do move closer to reception of communion, we take that seriously, and maybe we try to get to confession to prepare our souls for that moment. Second, the entrance and exit procedures will seem a little weird, having to go straight to your seat and waiting to leave. But I think those can be great gifts as well. Often we can get caught up in conversations before Mass, or rushing in, or there's can be a lot of noise in the church. This is a great opportunity to get in the habit of coming to the church, sitting and praying before Mass to prepare our hearts for what's about to happen, and then after Mass to sit and make a thanksgiving. There's a beautiful custom of just sitting for a few moments to thank God for the gift of Jesus Christ while he sits in our hearts in the Blessed Sacrament. Finally, it's going to be a little odd with the limited participation in terms of singing, responding, or even for our extraordinary ministers and lectors who are used to being active at Mass. I think this is a good moment to remember that active participation is ultimately spiritual. For priest and people, the most important way we participate is by offering ourselves to God on the cross with Jesus Christ, is uniting ourselves in that act of offering. Those external realities just help reinforce what's going on interiorly. So hopefully maybe in these few weeks, as long as these protocols prevail, we take time to really spiritually enter into the mystery of the Holy Mass, to really more participate in hopefully a more meaningful and spiritual way. So again, please know of our prayers. We look forward to having everybody here this weekend. Final reminder, 5 p.m. Mass, 7 a.m. for the 65 and older community, and 8 a.m. Then we have 9, 10:30, and 12, weather permitting, or outside. Check our website and Facebook for updates if we move indoors. And finally, a 5:30 p.m. and a 7 p.m. Spanish Mass. We are excited to have you all back here. Please know of our prayers, and God bless you all.